you underestimate the power of the dark side.
Never. I'll never turn to the dark side.
Finally, I have an AMD GPU. I said I wouldn't go AMD, and I'm not personally, but I'm building a red themed system, and this was the only thing that I could find on a budget. I really didn't want to spend more than $50, but I found this RX580 8GB for $60, and it's an AMD, so I figured why not. Apparently, the RX580 is more or less equivalent to the GTX 1060, which you've seen many videos about. So I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to compare them side by side. I've watched many videos of the comparisons, and it's just neck and neck. The AMD wins in some cases, the Nvidia wins in some cases. So I'm going to tell you my experience on buying this card and what happened, and then we'll compare it to the GTX 1060 SSC. So if you recall in one of the videos I made about this card, when I bought it on eBay for what, 80? It was 80 something dollars. It was dirty and running hot. Once I cleaned it, it ran very well. I actually started using this card as my daily driver because I like it. It's cool. It's slightly better than my custom twin fan that I have videos about. So I bought this one from a friend, and he said, yeah, this was my old card, it works perfectly. So I figured it's better than eBay, buy it from your friend. He said the only thing is the fans are kind of loud. So took it home, popped it in, and first thing I noticed, which is interesting about this particular card, there's a switch here for silent or OC mode. There's a red LED, devil, and there's an LED switch to turn this on or off. Also, the back plate is nice. I don't usually get them with back plates, although I feel like this one's kind of suffocating itself with all the thermal pads blocking the holes. So I'm not sure. Anyway, that's about the card. It's pretty thick, it's pretty heavy, weighs a ton more than that one. And so I put it in, and right away the idle temperature was 50 degrees Celsius, which is high. Threw it on a benchmark. It immediately went to 90°C within a minute, and the fans were going crazy. And I know he said it ran hot, but I didn't know it meant like on fire hot. So I took it apart, and he said he already had repasted it, so that's why I wasn't worried about it. So there's 4 screws here, 2 screws here. Whole thing comes off. When I opened it, I saw the thermal paste was cheap. It was like, looked like mayonnaise. It was so thin, and it all, whatever he put on the GPU, it all squished out. I'll put a picture down here so you can see it. So it was kind of not making contact properly. Also, it was a little bit dusty. So I put in Arctic Silver 5, cleaned everything, put it back together. Right back in the system, it went down to 37°C idle, and under benchmarking it hits about 70, but under actual games it's 67 or so. So it's pretty cool. So performance, this one runs, I don't have the numbers in front of me, I think it was 70, low 70s in Furmark. This one runs low 70s in Furmark. This one, you can overclock it a little bit. Basically, if you put it on max power, I could get it up to about 80 FPS in firmware. This one won't overclock. This is actually a factory overclocked card, so it really doesn't like to go more than what it does. I tried memory, I tried frequency, I tried voltage. It just, I don't know, it won't take it. But if I bump it up just another 25 megahertz, it goes up to 75 FPS. But that's all I can do. Versus this one, I can get 80 on the Strix. I can almost hit 90. I can hit like 87 on the Strix. So you might think that this card is worse. Then when it comes to the games, this card is like 64 FPS in Call of Duty. This one breaks 70 easily, hits 74. Probably because of the memory difference. You have 6 gigabytes here and 8 gigabytes here. So it's like just like the other videos. It's faster in some ways, faster in not. I would just call it a tie. If you can find an RX580 for 75 bucks or 50 bucks, you'd be winning. This is not a normal RX580. There are cheaper ones out there. And lastly, about this particular card, this is a Power Color Red Devil RX580. It's actually called, where is it? It's called OC on there because it's factory overclocked. It'll hit 1425 by itself without you having to do anything. Now about the fan switch, or I'm sorry, the overclock switch here. I thought this would make it faster, like overclock mode, not overclock mode. It's not. All it does is it changes the fan behavior. So if you put it in OC mode, the second any load happens on the card, the fans just go crazy, like ready to go. Silent mode is more normal, like this one. The fans won't come on until it hits 60 degrees. So the OC mode's a little annoying because it's just anything you do, it just starts going crazy. But I get it. I mean, if you were going to play games all day, then you would want the fans to be on anyway. So that's it. I mean, I'm not sure about this. It's kind of disturbing logo on the back. I might just paint the backplate red because that's really all you see, right? And then actually somebody thermal tested this particular card in an article, and they found that all the heat was right here where these holes are. They were super hot. And actually the backplate runs fairly cool as long as you have some airflow going over it. It's actually not roasting hot. But I don't know where these go to and why they're in this sort of weird like circle pattern. So maybe I'll take this backplate off. I wonder if we just take out the thermal pads from the holes area and let it breathe a little bit, if that would help. But anyway, it doesn't get that hot. It only hits like 70 max. I think I've seen it break 70 a couple times, but overall it runs at 70. And then finally, my complaint about this card, I don't know if it's all 5X or RX580s. The fan behavior is very weird. So they go based on load. This was in silent mode. So when you're in a game, let's say you're on the menu, you're just logging in, fans are slow. Then you go to another screen where there's an animation, fans are high. Then you go to another menu, fans are low. Then you go to the screen where you're loading the game into the map or whatever. Fans are high, then the fans are low, and then the fans are high, and then the fans are low. Not until you actually reach the game does it settle down and kind of act normal. So I don't know if that's a BIOS thing, this particular card, is it AMD in general? So that's really annoying. What I did was I just fixed the fans at a certain speed in MSI because I couldn't stand the constant up and down and up and down and up and down in the fan speed. And it's not the temperature, it's not even hot, it's detecting load, so it's doing what it thinks it should do in that situation. And then on top of that, these fans are kind of dirty, so they're a little, I can feel it, like there's probably dust in here, so they need to be cleaned or replaced. I wonder if I could find red fans instead and just put new ones. But anyway, for $60 it performs very well. I bet you I could get 100 for this easy, considering the 8 gigabytes and the red theme. I don't even know where you can buy this anymore, but there you have it. 1060 versus RX580. I would guess you would say when it just comes to games, the RX580 wins, all things being equal, and they're pretty much the relatively same performance. It can't hurt you having the extra 2 gigabytes of memory. So RX580 is the winner.